In the desolate expanse of the Peruvian coastal plain, a profound mystery is etched into the very surface of the earth. From the ground, it appears as nothing more than a barren wasteland of rock and sand, unremarkable and empty. But take to the skies, and an entirely different reality reveals itself. The desert floor is not empty at all. It is a canvas for hundreds of gigantic figures, geoglyphs of stunning precision and scale, invisible from the ground. Here, a spider with remarkable anatomical detail. Over there, a monkey with a whimsical, spiraling tail. These are the Nazca Lines, a collection of over 800 straight lines and 300 geometric figures, and 70 animal and plant designs. Some of the straight lines run for over 30 miles, going over hills and valleys without deviating from their path. Created nearly 2,000 years ago, they are a puzzle that has baffled archaeologists and historians for decades. Who created these monumental drawings and for what purpose? Were they messages to the heavens or something else entirely? Join us as we explore the secrets of the Nazca Lines, the giant figures that are only visible from the sky. To truly comprehend the Nazca Lines, one must first grapple with their almost unbelievable scale. These are not small drawings. The famous hummingbird figure measures 310 feet long. The spider is 150 feet. The condor stretches nearly 440 feet. From ground level, the lines are deceptively simple. They are just shallow depressions, about 4 to 6 inches deep. If you were to stand in the middle of one, you would be completely unaware of the grand design surrounding you. The largest figures are truly colossal. A pelican geoglyph near the coast is a staggering 935 feet long. Many of the geometric shapes, like the massive trapezoids, are thousands of feet in length, resembling giant runways. The collective effort required to create these is mind-boggling, especially for a culture without modern surveying equipment. How did they maintain such accuracy over such vast distances? How did they ensure the proportions were correct? The scale implies a purpose far beyond simple decoration. This was a project of immense significance and communal dedication. The sheer size of the lines is the first and most profound clue to their importance in the ancient Nazca world. The Nazca artists didn't just draw lines, they populated their desert canvas with a stunning menagerie of stylized figures. Among the most famous is the spider. It's so detailed that biologists identified it as a specific, rare species. This particular spider is tiny in real life and known for its reproductive organ at the tip of one leg. Other figures represent the fauna of the region and beyond, like the majestic condor, a powerful symbol in Andean cultures. A killer whale, a creature of the distant ocean, is depicted far inland, hinting at a deep connection to the sea. A lizard, unfortunately bisected by the construction of the Pan-American Highway in the 1930s, shows the fragility of these works. Beyond the animal kingdom, we find plants, a tree and a flower, perhaps symbols of fertility in this arid land. But the biomorphs are outnumbered by hundreds of geometric shapes, triangles, rectangles, and vast trapezoids. Perhaps the most enigmatic are the spirals, some forming complex mazes or pathways leading to a central point. Each figure is a silent statement, a piece of a symbolic language whose full meaning is now lost to the ages. To understand the lines, we must first understand their creators, the Nazca people, who flourished here from 100 BCE to 800 CE. They were not a vast empire, but a society of interconnected communities living in a harsh, unforgiving environment. The Nazca left behind no written language. Their story is told through their art, particularly their stunning polychrome pottery. On these pots and textiles, we see the same motifs found on the desert floor: hummingbirds, killer whales, and shamans. This suggests the lines were an integral part of their cosmology, a large-scale expression of their most important beliefs. They were also brilliant engineers, developing a sophisticated system of underground aqueducts known as puquios to farm the desert. This mastery of their environment and their engineering prowess proves they had the technical skill to create the giant lines. Their society was deeply spiritual, with shamans and priests playing a central role in rituals and community life. Many of the figures, especially the so-called astronaut, are now believed to represent these shamanic figures or local deities. The Nazca people were not mysterious aliens, but a resourceful and artistic culture who left their mark upon the world. So, how did a pre-industrial society create artworks so large they can only be seen from the sky? The method was ingenious. The Nazca Desert has a unique geological makeup. The ground is covered in a layer of dark, iron oxide-coated pebbles. Beneath this dark veneer lies a much lighter, yellowish-gray subsoil. The contrast between the two layers is the key. To create the lines, the Nazca people simply removed the dark surface pebbles, exposing the lighter ground beneath. No heavy machinery was needed. The work was done by organized groups of people using their hands and simple tools. To create the complex shapes, archaeologists believe they first made small-scale models or drawings on plots of land. Then, using wooden stakes and long stretches of cord, they scaled up these drawings to their monumental final sizes. The incredible straightness of the long lines was likely achieved by sighting between two distant posts over many miles. Once created, the lines were preserved by the region's exceptionally dry, windless, and stable climate. The method was simple, but the planning, coordination, and execution were a monumental feat of human ingenuity. The why of the Nazca Lines is even more debated than the how. One of the earliest scientific theories pointed to the heavens. Researcher Phyllis Pitluga proposed that the lines were a huge astronomical observatory tracking the movements of stars and planets. Some lines do appear to align with significant celestial events, such as the rising and setting points of the sun on solstices. The spider figure, she argued, was a representation of the constellation Orion, with lines aligning to the 3 stars of Orion's belt. For an agricultural society, tracking the seasons would have been critically important for planting and harvesting crops. A massive calendar, readable by the gods or from sacred high places, would have held immense power and significance. Other lines seem to point towards the rising or setting of important star clusters, like the Pleiades, which also signals planting seasons. However, the theory has its critics. The sheer number of lines makes coincidental alignment statistically likely. Many lines don't correspond to any known significant astronomical event, suggesting there must be another explanation. While astronomy likely played a role, it probably isn't the sole purpose. The mystery of the lines is deeper still. A more recent and widely accepted theory connects the lines to the Nazca's most vital concern, the quest for water. Living in one of the driest places on Earth, the Nazca people's survival depended entirely on securing a steady water supply. This theory suggests the lines were not made to be seen, but to be walked upon as part of elaborate rituals. The animal figures, such as spiders, hummingbirds, and monkeys, are all symbols of water, rain, and fertility in Andean mythology. The lines and trapezoids may have been pathways leading to sacred mountains or sources of water, like rivers or puquios. Archaeological evidence supports this. Pottery shards and remains of offerings have been found at the intersections of lines. The act of creating and maintaining the lines could have been a communal prayer, a way to appease the deities who controlled the rain. The spirals might represent shells or the cycle of water, while the trapezoids could be spaces for ceremonial gatherings. This theory grounds the lines firmly in the material and spiritual needs of the Nazca people, connecting them to survival itself. The lines were not just art, but active ritual spaces, a spiritual technology designed to bring life-giving water to the desert. No discussion of the Nazca Lines is complete without mentioning the most sensational theory, that they were made by or for extraterrestrials. Popularized in the 1960s, this idea suggests the long, straight lines were landing strips for alien spacecraft. The so-called astronaut figure, a 105-foot-tall figure on a hillside, is often presented as the smoking gun for this theory. However, archaeologists have a much simpler explanation. It likely depicts a local deity or a shaman in ceremonial attire. As for the landing strip idea, the desert floor is soft sand and loose gravel, completely unsuitable for landing any heavy craft. Furthermore, no artifacts of non-terrestrial origin, no strange metals, no advanced technology have ever been found at Nazca. The ancient astronaut theory, while entertaining, fundamentally dismisses the incredible skill and vision of the Nazca people themselves. It suggests that ancient humans were incapable of such feats without outside help, a notion unsupported by evidence. The truth isn't found in the stars, but right here on Earth in the ambition and ingenuity of our own ancestors. The real story of human creativity and engineering is far more compelling than any tale of visitors from other worlds. For nearly 1,500 years, the lines lay mostly undisturbed, preserved by one of the most stable climates on the planet. The Nazca Plateau receives less than an inch of rain per year, and the surface temperature helps create a protective cushion of air. This lack of wind and rain meant the shallow trenches once dug remained almost perfectly intact for centuries. While known to locals, the lines were largely hidden from the wider world until the advent of aviation in the 20th century. Peruvian and American pilots flying commercial and military routes in the 1920s and 30s were the first to report the giant figures. This aerial rediscovery sparked the scientific and public fascination that continues to this day, making them a global icon. But this newfound fame has also brought threats. The lines are incredibly fragile and damage can be permanent. In 1994, they were designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but protecting such a vast area is a monumental challenge. Climate change also poses a risk, as unusual weather patterns could bring winds and rains that might erase the lines forever. The challenge for our generation is to ensure that this ancient message, preserved for millennia, is not lost on our watch. So, what are the Nazca Lines? An astronomical calendar? A map to water? Or a series of ceremonial pathways? The truth is likely a complex tapestry of all these ideas. They were probably multi-purpose, evolving over centuries. They are a profound connection to the worldview of the Nazca people, a glimpse into a mindset vastly different from our own. They represent one of the greatest artistic and engineering achievements of the ancient world, a masterpiece of environmental art. The lines challenge our assumptions about the capabilities of ancient cultures, proving what can be done with cooperation and vision. They are a silent message, written on the largest canvas imaginable, a message whose full translation continues to elude us. Perhaps the questions they inspire are more valuable than any definitive answer we could find. They fuel our curiosity. They remind us that the world still holds profound mysteries and that the story of humanity is full of incredible chapters. As the sun sets over the Peruvian desert, the lines sink back into shadow, holding their secrets for another night. A timeless enigma, a testament to human faith and ingenuity, waiting for us to simply look up and wonder.